The war had left nothing but broken ships drifting among the stars. Smoke and metal filled the sky of the ruined planet below. The battle between humans and the Zarathi Empire had ended in silence, both sides too damaged to continue fighting. Among the wreckage, one signal flickered weakly. It came from a royal Zarathi ship that had crashed near a small human outpost on the barren moon of Arian 4. Inside the outpost, Lieutenant Aaron Wells checked his scanner again. The signal was faint but constant, a life sign. His small team of medics had been helping wounded soldiers all day, but this reading was strange. The energy signature didn't match any human pattern. He frowned and looked at his commander. "Sir, there's someone out there and not one of ours," he said. Captain Morales looked tired but nodded. "If it's still alive, bring it in. We don't leave anyone to die." Aaron took 2 soldiers and rushed out into the storm. The sky burned orange as small fires burned across the surface. Pieces of alien metal and debris were scattered everywhere. When they reached the signal source, they saw a half-destroyed Zarathi escape pod. The door was bent, the inside filled with sparks. He forced it open and froze. Inside lay a woman, tall, silver-skinned, with long dark hair that shimmered faintly even under the dust. Her armor was torn, and strange blue blood stained the seat around her. A small crown-like circlet rested on her forehead, cracked but still glowing weakly. "Is she?" one soldier started. Aaron checked quickly. "Alive, barely. Her pulse is slow, but she's still breathing. Help me lift her." They carried the alien woman back through the storm to the human outpost. Everyone stared when they saw who she was. The crest on her armor was unmistakable, the royal symbol of the Zarathi Empire. Whispers spread quickly. "That's their princess, the heir to their throne," one soldier said in disbelief. Captain Morales stepped closer. "If that's true, this could change everything. Get her to the med bay, now." Inside the small medical room, Aaron worked quickly. The alien woman's body temperature was dropping fast and her breathing was uneven. He ran a scanner over her, trying to understand her biology. The Zarathi were known for being advanced, but their physiology was still a mystery to human science. Her name tag, written in alien script, flickered on her armor's screen. Lyrana Voratha, Princess of Zarathi. Aaron swallowed hard. "You're a long way from your palace," he whispered as he prepared the equipment. He tried every standard healing method. Oxygen mix, regeneration field, bioseal patches. But her condition kept getting worse. Her blood cells were collapsing. Her body couldn't keep oxygen flowing. The human medicine was too weak to save her. She was dying. Captain Morales entered. "Report, Lieutenant." Aaron shook his head. "Her blood is breaking down. We don't have the right plasma type. If we don't stabilize her soon, she won't make it. Can we contact her people?" "No signal strong enough to reach them. The storm's jamming all transmissions." The captain looked grim. "Then she'll die here." Aaron hesitated. Something inside him refused to give up. He looked at the readings again and then froze. There was something strange. Her blood structure looked oddly similar to human type O negative. Not identical, but close enough that it might work with modification. "Wait," he said softly, checking again. "If I adjust the transfusion rate and use nanofilters, I think my blood might be able to stabilize her." Captain Morales stared at him. "You can't be serious. Cross-species transfusion is forbidden for a reason. It could kill both of you." "I know," Aaron said quietly. "But if we do nothing, she dies in minutes." The captain sighed heavily. "You're risking your life for an alien, for our enemy." Aaron looked down at the unconscious woman. Her face was pale, her breathing shallow. "She's not my enemy right now. She's just someone who needs help." After a long silence, the captain nodded. "You have 10 minutes, Lieutenant. Do it." Aaron connected the transfusion line carefully. His hands shook slightly as he inserted the needle into his own arm and linked it through the nanofilter unit. The device hummed softly, adapting the blood cells to match her chemistry as closely as possible. The blue light on the monitor flickered. Her heart rate was falling. He whispered, "Come on. Don't quit on me." For several long minutes, nothing happened. His vision began to blur as he lost more blood. Then slowly, the monitor beeped. Her heart rate climbed. The blue color in her veins brightened, pulsing with new life. The small glow on her circlet flickered back to life. Captain Morales exhaled in surprise. "It's working," Aaron smiled weakly. "Told you. Worth a try." He leaned back, pale from blood loss as the machine kept running. The princess's wounds began to close faster than expected. Her body seemed to accept the human blood, even strengthen from it. The nanofilter readouts showed something unusual. Human and Zarathi DNA strands were bonding in small segments, forming new patterns no one had ever seen. After an hour, Aaron disconnected the line. His arms trembled, but the alien woman's breathing was steady. Her chest rose and fell normally for the first time since the crash. "She's stable," he said softly. "She's going to live," the captain nodded. "You did something incredible, Wells, but you'd better rest. The council won't like what you just did." "I'll deal with that later," Aaron said, sinking onto a nearby chair. "Right now I just want to make sure she wakes up." 2 hours later, the storm outside began to calm. Inside the medbay, Aaron sat beside the bed watching her closely. Her body temperature had returned to normal. The alien armor had been removed, leaving her wrapped in a simple thermal blanket. Even in sleep she looked proud, a warrior, not a helpless royal. He wondered what kind of person she really was. The Zarathi Empire had always been seen as cruel and proud, but as he looked at her calm face, he realized she looked peaceful, not like an enemy at all. Suddenly the monitor beeped again. Her eyes opened, bright silver glowing faintly in the dim light. She looked around in confusion, then focused on him. Her voice was weak but clear. "Where am I?" Aaron smiled carefully. "You're safe. You were injured in the crash. I'm Lieutenant Aaron Wells, medical officer. You're in a human outpost." Her eyes narrowed slightly. Human?" She looked down at her arm and saw the faint red mark from the transfusion line. "You touched my blood?" Aaron nodded slowly. "Yes, it was the only way to save you. You were dying." For a moment her expression was unreadable. Shock, fear, then something else. She looked away, whispering, "No one has ever done that." "Not for a Zarathi." Aaron shrugged lightly. "Well, there's a first time for everything." She studied him silently for several seconds. Her silver eyes softened a little. "Your kind is strange, human." "You risked your life for an enemy." He smiled faintly. "I didn't see an enemy. I saw someone who needed help." Her gaze lingered on him for a long time before her eyes closed again. "Perhaps I was wrong about your kind," she whispered as she drifted back to sleep. Aaron watched her breathing steady again. He didn't know what would happen next, if her people would come or if the human command would punish him. But one thing he knew for sure, this single act of compassion had changed something. Maybe not just for her, but for both their worlds. Outside, the stars of the battlefield flickered like silent witnesses. In the middle of war and destruction, a strange peace had begun, born not from victory but from one man's blood and one alien princess's fragile heartbeat. The next morning on Ariane 4 was quiet. The storm had passed, leaving the surface of the barren moon covered in dark dust and glowing fragments of wreckage. Inside the human outpost, the medbay lights flickered softly. Lieutenant Aaron Wells stood beside the bed, looking at the alien woman who had nearly died the night before. The princess, Lirana Varatha, was still asleep. Her breathing was calm and her skin had regained its silver tone. The strange crown on her forehead glowed faintly again, as if her body had reconnected with its power. Aaron checked the monitors one more time. Everything looked normal. Almost too normal, he frowned. Her heart rate, her blood oxygen, even her temperature had not only recovered but were now higher than before. Her cells were regenerating faster than any living being he had ever studied. Captain Morales entered quietly. "She's still alive?" Aaron nodded. "More than alive. Look at these readings. It's like her body's evolving. My blood didn't just keep her alive, and it's changing her." The captain crossed his arms. "You're saying the transfusion didn't just save her? It's doing something more?" "Yes," Aaron said, staring at the data. "Human DNA is being absorbed into her cells. It's not rejection, and it's fusion." Morales sighed. "Well, if Command hears about this, they'll want her shipped off to a research lab immediately." Aaron's eyes narrowed. "She's not an experiment. She's a person." Morales looked at him for a long moment, then nodded slowly. "I hope you're right, Lieutenant. For both your sakes." Hours later, the princess began to stir again. Her eyes opened, bright silver with faint golden flecks that hadn't been there before. She looked around the small med bay, confused. When her gaze found Aaron, she stared for a long time. "You again," she said quietly. "The human who gave me his blood." Aaron smiled lightly. "You remember. That's a good sign." Her voice was soft but firm. My people have legends about blood bonding. It is forbidden, yet I live because of it. He pulled up a stool and sat beside her. Sometimes laws can't keep up with life. You were dying. I just did what anyone would do. She tilted her head, studying him. No human. Most of your kind would have let me die. Our empires are enemies, Aaron sighed. Maybe, but I didn't see an empire. I saw someone who needed help. For a moment, she said nothing. Then she touched her arm where the transfusion mark still showed faintly. It feels strange, like there's something inside me that wasn't there before. Aaron checked the readings again. That's because my blood didn't just mix with your and it's changing you. Slowly. Her silver eyes widened slightly. Changing me? How? He hesitated. Your body accepted human DNA. It's merging with your cells. You're stronger now, healing faster than before, but I don't know where it will stop. Lyrana looked away, quiet for a long moment. If my people learn of this, they will call me impure. They will call you a corruptor? Aaron smiled faintly. I've been called worse. She almost smiled too, but it faded quickly. Still, thank you, Aaron Wells. Whatever happens, I owe you my life. Later that day, the outpost received a message through the static-filled comms. The Zarathi fleet was searching for their missing royal ship. The humans decoded it. The Empire believed their princess dead. If they learned she was alive and in human hands, they would attack. Captain Morales gathered his officers. We can't hold this moon if the Zarathi send a recovery fleet. We'll be wiped out. One soldier suggested surrendering the princess. Another said to hide her. But before they could decide, Lyrana entered the room. She was standing, dressed in a borrowed human uniform. Everyone stared. She looked stronger, her presence commanding. You will not hand me over, she said firmly. If you do, they will destroy this place to erase the shame of my survival. Morales looked at her carefully. You're suggesting we hide you? She nodded. Until I can contact someone I trust in my own fleet. Aaron stepped forward. Are you sure you're strong enough for that? She turned to him, her silver gold eyes calm. Your blood made me strong enough. I can feel it. There was something in her voice, not arrogance, but quiet certainty. The human soldiers exchanged uneasy looks. No one argued. They all saw that she was no longer the same fragile royal who had nearly died on the table. That night, the outpost was silent except for the wind outside. Aaron sat alone in the med bay reviewing her blood samples. The data made no sense. Her new hybrid cells could resist almost any infection, adapt to toxins, even generate small bursts of bioelectric energy. Human blood had never done anything like this before. He leaned back in his chair, rubbing his tired eyes. What are you becoming? He murmured. Behind him, a soft voice said, I wish I knew. He turned. Lyrana stood in the doorway, her hair loose, the light from the corridor giving her an almost glowing outline. She looked curious rather than threatening. You should be resting, he said. I feel no weakness, she replied. In fact, I feel alive more than ever before. She stepped closer, looking at the screen. Those are my readings? Yes, Aaron said. Your biology is rewriting itself. My blood triggered something. You're not just healing, you're transforming. She touched the screen gently. So this is what your kind calls science, she said softly. In my world, we would call it magic. Aaron smiled. Sometimes I think they're the same thing. For a moment, they stood silently. Then she looked at him again. Do you regret it? Giving me your blood? Not for a second. Her gaze softened. You humans. You surprise me. The next morning, an alarm shattered the silence. Red lights flashed through the outpost. A recon drone had detected ships entering the system. Zarathi ships. Captain Morales rushed into the command center. They've found us. Their scouts will reach orbit in 10 hours. Lyrana followed him in. If they capture me alive, they will erase all evidence of your kindness and your existence. Aaron turned to her. Then we won't let them. She shook her head. You don't understand, Aaron. My people fear change. They will destroy anything that shows weakness, and even me. Morales looked at her. Then what do you suggest? I will send a message, she said. But not to the council. To one who might listen. An hour later, she stood before the old human transmitter. Aaron adjusted the controls as she spoke in her melodic alien tongue. Her words were clear and strong, carrying across the void to anyone listening. This is Princess Lyrana Varatha of Zarathi. I live and I owe my life to a human. Any who seek to harm this place will face my wrath. Aaron looked at her, surprised. You're warning them? She nodded. If they believe I command this outpost, they may hesitate. Fear is a language they understand. But deep inside, she wasn't certain it would work. She knew the Zarathi Council well. They would see her as tainted. Yet as she looked at Aaron beside her, working silently, she felt something new. Trust. Hours passed. The Zarathi ships held at the edge of the system. No attack came. Perhaps her message had worked, or perhaps they were waiting. Lyrana stood by the window, watching the stars. Your blood runs through me now, she said softly. And I feel things I never felt before. Calm, hope, even warmth. Aaron smiled quietly. Those are human feelings. Welcome to our side. She turned to him, her eyes reflecting both silver and gold. Perhaps, but I think they belong to both of us now. For the first time since the war began, Aaron felt that peace might not be impossible. A fragile bond had been formed, not by treaties or weapons, but by blood and kindness. Neither of them knew that far away. The Zarathi Council had already learned the truth, that their princess lived, changed by human blood. And they would never allow such a thing to exist. The quiet hours that followed were heavy with tension. The human outpost on Arian 4 stood silent under the dim light of distant stars. Inside, soldiers whispered in the hallways, unsure if the Zarathi fleet in orbit would attack or retreat. No one truly believed the silence would last. Lieutenant Aaron Wells sat in the medbay, reviewing the latest scans of Princess Lyrana. The strange mix of human and Zarathi DNA continued to evolve within her. Her cells were stronger, her energy levels higher, and her senses sharper. It was as if her body was building something new, something that had never existed before. But outside that small room, fear was spreading fast. The message she had sent earlier had reached the Zarathi fleet, and it had reached others too. In the dark halls of the Zarathi Royal Command ship, high above the planet, the council gathered around a glowing table. Their faces were cold and proud, their silver armor shining under the blue lights. The human has corrupted our princess, one of the commanders growled. He must be destroyed. The outpost must be wiped from existence. Another elder, his eyes old and wise, spoke slowly. And yet, she lives. That means something. The old prophecy, silence, snapped Lord Varric, the warlord who had led the recent battles. His eyes glowed faint red, a mark of his rank. No prophecy will save her. She carries human blood now. She is no longer Zarathi. She is a threat to everything we stand for. The elders bowed their heads. Lord Varric turned to his officers. Prepare the fleet. We will burn the human base to ashes, and bring me the one called Aaron Wells, alive. Back on Arian 4, Lyrana stood by the observation window, her glowing eyes watching the empty sky. She could feel it, a cold presence approaching. Her blood mixed with human life seemed to sense danger before anyone else. They are coming, she whispered. Aaron looked up from his console. How do you know? I can feel their minds, she said quietly. Zarathi battle thought flows through the void like a pulse. I know my people's anger. It burns bright. Captain Morales entered the room. Our long-range scanners picked up movement. 4 ships entering orbit? Looks like they're positioning for an attack, Aaron frowned. Can we get reinforcements? Morales shook his head. Command says they can't reach us in time. Communications are still weak from the storm. So we're on our own, Aaron said. Lyrana turned sharply. No, you have me. Her tone was calm but filled with strength. The soldiers around her hesitated. They had seen what she could do, how she survived wounds that should have killed her, how her strength grew daily. Still, they weren't sure whether to trust her fully. Aaron met her gaze. If we fight together. She looked at him for a long moment and nodded. Then together it shall be. As the humans prepared defenses, Lyrana walked alone to the edge of the base. The night wind blew across the sand and she closed her eyes. She could hear whispers, her people's voices in her mind. Her Zarathi blood was calling her home, but her human side whispered another truth. Freedom. She pressed her hand to her chest where her heart beat strongly. Human blood. You changed me, she murmured. Now I see things differently. Suddenly, a flash of light cut across the sky. A drone exploded in orbit, the first sign that war had arrived again. Captain Morales shouted through the comm, "Incoming fire!" Shields up. The outpost trembled as energy blasts struck the defensive barrier. Sparks flew, alarms screamed, and soldiers ran to battle positions. Aaron rushed to the control room. "Damage report." "Shields holding for now," an officer replied. "But they're testing us." Aaron turned to Lyrana. "What are they waiting for?" "They're not waiting," she said, her voice steady. "They're measuring your strength. Varric always tests his prey before the final strike." Aaron frowned. "Varric?" Her expression darkened. "He was my father's warlord. A cruel leader. He believes in purity above all. If he captures me, he will not kill me. He will display me as a warning." Aaron clenched his fists. "Then we make sure that doesn't happen." The hours passed like an eternity. The Zarathi ship circled slowly above, blocking all escape. The humans prepared for the worst. Lyrana stood beside Aaron at the tactical console. "There is one way to stop them," she said softly. Aaron looked at her. "I'm listening. My blood now carries human energy. If I link with your power systems, I might be able to overload their targeting sensors. They won't be able to fire accurately." Aaron blinked. "You can do that?" She nodded. "Yes, but it will take a toll. My body is still adapting." He hesitated. "No, you've risked enough." She smiled faintly. "So have you. That's what makes us alike." Before he could stop her, she placed her hand on the glowing power core. A surge of energy flowed through her veins. Her eyes flared gold. The lights in the outpost dimmed, then stabilized again. From above, the Zarathi fleet's weapons flickered and went silent. "It's working," Aaron said. Lyrana's voice trembled slightly. "They can't lock on, but they will adapt soon." Captain Morales shouted. "They're sending ground troops. Dropships incoming." Aaron ran to the armory, grabbing his gear. "We'll have to fight them on the surface." Lyrana followed him, her strength returning. "I will fight with you." The first Zarathi soldiers landed outside the base in a storm of fire and dust. Their armor gleamed silver, their weapons humming with energy, but when they saw the princess standing beside humans, they hesitated. "Princess Lyrana," one of them called, his voice full of shock. "You stand with them?" She stepped forward. "I stand with those who saved me." The soldier lowered his weapon slightly. "But your blood is my own," she said firmly, "and I choose my path." For a moment, silence hung in the air. Then another soldier, loyal to Varric, shouted, "She is impure! Destroy her!" The battle began. Laser fire tore through the air. Humans and Zarathi clashed across the rocky ground. Aaron fought beside his team, covering Lyrana as she used her strange new power. Bursts of bright energy that disabled enemy armor without killing. She moved with speed and precision, her eyes glowing brighter with every moment. The humans began to gain ground. The Zarathi soldiers were confused and their weapons failing, their leader silent. Lyrana stood tall in the center of it all, her voice strong. "Enough," she shouted. The energy around her pulsed outward, knocking the enemy to the ground without harm. "I will not let this war continue." The battlefield froze. Even the human soldiers stopped firing. Then from the sky a thunderous roar shook the ground. A massive ship descended, darker and larger than the rest. The insignia of Lord Varric burned across its hull. Lyrana looked up. "He's here." Inside the command bridge of the huge warship, Varric's red eyes blazed. He had watched the entire fight from orbit. He saw the princess stand beside humans and felt only rage. "So this is the end of the royal line," he said coldly. "Very well. If she stands with humans, she will die with them." He turned to his officers. "Prepare the weapon. I will finish this myself." Back on the ground, the outpost scanners screamed a warning. "Massive energy surge. He's charging a planet killer." Aaron looked at Lyrana. "We can't survive that." She stared at the sky, her expression calm but fierce. "Then we stop him, together." He stepped beside her. "You have a plan?" She looked at him and placed her hand on his chest, feeling his heartbeat. "Your blood and mine are one now. If we combine our energy, maybe we can shield this place long enough for the others to escape." Aaron hesitated, then nodded. "Let's do it." They moved to the power core once more. As they linked their hands over the glowing console, light spread across the room. Human and Zarathi energy fused into one. The air vibrated with power. Above them, the warlord's weapon fired, went a blazing beam cutting through the sky. But when it reached the surface, it met something unexpected, a radiant shield of gold and blue light. The outpost held. For a brief moment, the sky was filled with light brighter than any sun. Then the energy faded. When the dust cleared, the outpost still stood, protected by the strange bond of one human and one alien princess. But as the light faded from their hands, Lyrana fell to her knees, weak but alive. Aaron caught her before she hit the ground. "You did it. You saved us," she smiled faintly. "No, Aaron. We did." Above them, the great ship began to retreat, its weapons silent. The Zarathi fleet pulled back, confused and shaken. Lord Varric's voice echoed faintly through the comms. "This is not over." Aaron looked up at the stars. "No," he said softly, holding the unconscious princess close. "It's just beginning." The Odyssey drifted quietly through the outer edge of the Lyran Nebula. Its shields hummed softly, holding back the colorful gas storms that danced outside the windows. Inside the ship, the crew worked in tense silence. They had evaded the Carillan fleet for days, but the threat still hung heavy in the air. Everyone knew it was only a matter of time before the enemy returned. Princess Liara sat in the observation chamber, her silver-gold eyes reflecting the swirling colors of the nebula. She traced her fingers over the glass, deep in thought. Her body was stronger than ever, her wounds fully healed, yet she could feel the change within herself, the effect of the human blood that had saved her life. Lieutenant Ethan Cole approached cautiously. "Princess," he said softly, "you've been quiet all day. Are you all right?" Liara turned to him. "I am different," she admitted. "Your blood changed more than my body. I feel things I never knew I could feel. Empathy, compassion, hope." She looked at him closely. "And not just for humans. For everyone." Ethan nodded slowly. "I've seen it in the scans. Your DNA is adapting. The human cells didn't just merge, they're enhancing your abilities. Your healing, your strength, even your senses. They're beyond any Zarathi warrior I've ever read about." Liara's eyes widened slightly. "So, I'm stronger because of you?" she whispered. He smiled faintly. "Stronger, yes. But you also have something more dangerous. A bridge between our species. If the wrong people find out, they'll see you as a threat. But if used wisely, you could change everything." Later, the ship's communications officer, Lieutenant Jara, interrupted with urgency. "Sir, I'm picking up a signal, not from the Carolans. It's coming from a research vessel nearby." Captain Reynolds frowned. "Open it." The screen flickered, revealing a group of human scientists who had been tracking the Odyssey for weeks. Dr. Seelan, their lead, appeared on the hollow screen. "We've been monitoring the princess since her rescue. What you may not realize," she said quickly, "is that the fusion of your blood with her cells is producing something unprecedented. A hybrid energy signature. This isn't just a biological change. It's creating a link." Ethan raised his eyebrows. "A link?" Dr. Seelan nodded. "Yes. Your blood has allowed the human and Zarathi DNA to interact at a cellular level. Liara, you are capable of amplifying human biological energy through your own Zarathi physiology. This could revolutionize medicine, communication, even starship power systems." Liara stared at the screen, her mind racing. I can do what?" "Control and enhance energy in ways your people have never achieved," Dr. Seelan explained. "But you must be careful. If the Carillan Empire discovers this, they will see you as a weapon, not a princess, and they will try to control you." Ethan's jaw tightened. "So it's worse than we thought. They'll come for us again, and this time they won't hesitate." Liara rose from her chair. "Then we have to act first. We cannot wait until they decide my fate. Ethan, I need you to help me understand this change in war, and use it to protect everyone." The next hours were filled with experimentation and training. Liara moved carefully under Ethan's supervision, learning to sense her own energy flow and regulate it. Every motion caused sparks of light to arc across her fingertips. Her strength had increased dramatically, and her reflexes were sharper than ever. But the most extraordinary part was the connection she felt with Ethan. Through his blood, a subtle link had formed between them. She could sense his emotions, fear, hope, even determination. And he could feel hers, the weight of royalty, the trauma of battle, and the strange new clarity that came with her hybrid body. "This is incredible," Ethan said, watching her levitate a small object with a controlled energy pulse. "Your cells are literally amplifying the human bioenergy in ways I didn't think possible." Liara nodded, focused. "And it's not just strength. I can feel life itself. the rhythms of living beings even across small distances. It's overwhelming at first, but it feels right, Ethan smiled faintly. It's amazing, but also dangerous. One wrong move and you could harm the wrong person or draw attention. She paused. Which is why we must be careful. But we can't stay hidden forever. The Corillans will not give up. And they'll be back soon. As if on cue, the ship's alarm sounded. Red lights flashed across the corridors. The Corillan fleet had returned, larger, faster, and more organized than before. The sensors showed dozens of cruisers moving into attack formation. Captain Reynolds barked orders. Shields up! Weapons ready! Evade and hold position. We cannot outrun them forever. Liara placed her hands on the console. I can help, she said. Let me try. Ethan looked at her, worry in his eyes. Princess, this could drain you, or worse. Are you sure? She turned to him, her eyes steady and glowing faint gold. I am sure. Your blood gave me life. Now I can use it to protect others. With a deep breath, she focused, feeling the energy within her flow outward. The entire ship seemed to pulse as light arced across the hull. The shields glowed brighter, absorbing attacks with ease. The Corillan fleet fired again, but their energy beams fizzled and dispersed against the hybrid shield. The crew stared in awe. It's working, whispered Lieutenant Jara. She's holding them off. Hours passed in tense silence. Liara maintained the shield with Ethan's guidance, feeling her strength waver but refusing to stop. She sensed every Corillan ship, every pulse of energy, and every life aboard the Odyssey. Her hybrid body responded instantly, adapting to the attacks with a precision no human or Zarathi could match alone. Finally, the Corillan fleet paused. Their weapons had failed repeatedly against a ship defended by one princess and one human. Lord Vareth's voice echoed through the comms. Princess Liara, he said coldly, do you not see what you have become? You are no longer pure. Your blood carries the taint of our enemies. Submit to me and your people may yet survive. Liara straightened, her energy pulsing brighter. I am stronger than I was. I am more than what you expect. And I will not bow to fear. Her words carried across the void, amplified by the hybrid energy link within her cells. For the first time, the Corillan fleet hesitated. Whispers spread among the soldiers. The princess was no longer the same. She had been changed by human kindness, and now she was unstoppable. Ethan watched her, his heart pounding. You're incredible, he said softly. She gave him a small, tired smile. I wouldn't be here without you. Your blood made this possible. When the battle ended, the Odyssey remained intact. The Corillan fleet had retreated, shaken and confused. But the threat was not gone, only postponed. Liara sat with Ethan in the observation chamber, watching the stars outside. Ethan, she said quietly, I feel different. Not just stronger, but connected to something bigger. Your blood, our bond. It has created a bridge. I can feel the lives of others, their struggles, their hopes. I feel responsibility, not just as a princess, but as a protector. Ethan nodded. That's exactly what makes this so dangerous. If the wrong people find out what you can do, they'll try to control it or destroy it. Liara turned to him, her eyes glowing softly. Then we must control it first, for the good of both our peoples. We can show them that humans are not weak, that our strength is more than weapons, that compassion can change everything. Ethan smiled faintly. I think they'll believe it when they see what we do next. She looked back at the stars, a sense of determination settling over her. Then let them come. We are ready. And in that moment, the bond between human and princess, and forged in blood and trust, became a force that neither empire could ignore. A revelation had been made. One act of courage, one life given freely, could rewrite the course of history. The Odyssey floated quietly in the nebula's swirling colors, but the calm was deceptive. The Corillan fleet had retreated for now, but Lord Vareth's threat lingered like a dark cloud. Inside the ship, Princess Liara stood at the observation window, her glowing silver-gold eyes focused on the stars. Her body pulsed with hybrid energy, the strange fusion of human and Zarathi cells still adapting within her. Lieutenant Ethan Cole approached her quietly, carrying a small tray of rations. You should eat something, he said softly. You've been at the console for hours. Liara shook her head. I cannot rest while the threat remains. Their fleet will return, and next time they will not hesitate. Ethan set the tray down and sat beside her. Then we need a plan. Hiding won't help. We can't outrun them forever. She turned to him, her gaze steady. Then we face them, but not as enemies. We fight to show them that mercy, courage, and life itself are stronger than fear and hatred. Ethan studied her for a moment. You've changed. More than anyone could imagine, she smiled faintly. Your blood changed me. It gave me life. And something more. Something I will use to protect everyone. Not just my people, not just humans, but anyone who cannot protect themselves. The next day, the Odyssey emerged from the nebula near a neutral system. Sensors picked up Carolyn's scouts again. Small ships moving cautiously. Liara placed her hand on the console, feeling the flow of energy within her. She could sense the scouts' intentions, their movements, even their hesitation. Captain Reynolds turned to Ethan. What now? Ethan glanced at Liara. She can stop them without firing a shot. We need to trust her. Liara's voice was calm but firm. Prepare the ship. If they come closer, I will use my energy to disable them, without harm. Let them see that their princess has changed, and that fear is not the answer. The scouts approached, weapons drawn. The Odyssey's shields glowed brighter as Liara focused her energy, a golden-blue aura spreading across the hull. The alien ship's weapons faltered, flickering as if the energy itself refused to harm her. One of the scouts transmitted a message. Princess Liara, what have you become? Liara responded, her voice echoing across the void. I am the same princess you knew, but I have learned. Life is more than orders and fear. Your fleet can fight me, or you can learn that courage and compassion are stronger than hatred. For the first time, the scouts hesitated. Their engines stuttered, their weapons locked. Across the void, doubt spread among the Carillion fleet. They were seeing their princess not as a weapon, not as a prize, but as a living bridge between two species. Word of Liara's power spread quickly through the galaxy. Humans and aliens alike watched transmissions showing the hybrid energy shield and her ability to neutralize attacks without killing anyone. Scholars called it unprecedented. Diplomats whispered that a new era might be possible, one built on trust, not war. Meanwhile, Lord Vareth prepared his fleet for a final strike. She cannot exist as both human and Carillion, he said grimly. If she stands with humans, she destroys everything we believe in. She must be brought to heel, or destroyed. Liara sensed his anger through the energy link. He is coming, she told Ethan. But this time I will not be the only one fighting. We have allies now. Humans, neutral worlds, even some of my own people who have heard of my survival and believe in what I stand for. Ethan nodded. Then we show him that no empire can thrive on fear alone. The final battle began near the neutral system's gravity well. Carillion ships surged forward, energy beams cutting through the void. The Odyssey stood firm, Liara at the helm of the hybrid energy shield. Her golden-blue aura flared brighter than ever, and Ethan felt the life force of the ship's crew flowing into her. With a focused gesture, Liara directed pulses of energy that disabled enemy weapons, sending shockwaves across the fleet without destroying a single ship. Alarms rang as Carillion commanders struggled to regain control. Vareth himself descended in a massive cruiser, his warship cutting through the void like a blade. Princess, he roared. Submit now. You betray your people, you betray your lineage. Liara stepped forward, her voice carrying through the comms and directly into his mind via the energy link. I betray nothing. I am stronger because of life, because of kindness, because of choice. And you are blind to the strength you ignore. Vareth's eyes blazed. He fired the ship's main weapon, a beam designed to obliterate everything in its path. Liara's aura flared. She reached out, directing the energy of every human and alien life aboard the Odyssey into a shield around her. The beam struck and fractured into harmless light, bouncing across the fleet like sunlight on water. Ethan watched in awe. She's controlling the energy. With her mind, Liara focused, feeling every pulse, every heartbeat, every spark of life. The Carillion fleet wavered, unable to act. Their leader, Vareth, saw that he could not overpower her, not with weapons, not with fear. Finally, Liara raised her voice, commanding both fleet and crew. Stop fighting! Look at what we have become together, human and Carillion. Life is stronger than war. Across the void, thousands of voices echoed her sentiment. Some Carillion ships lowered weapons. Others turned away. Even Vareth hesitated, his anger clashing with a strange awe he could not name. The battle ended without destruction. The Carillion fleet retreated, their ships disappearing into the darkness of space. The neutral systems hailed the Odyssey as a symbol of courage and unity. Liara collapsed into Ethan's arms, exhausted but smiling. "We did it," she whispered. Ethan held her carefully. "We did it together." Captain Reynolds walked over, placing a hand on Liara's shoulder. "Your Highness, you changed everything. Not just for humans, not just for Corillans. For everyone." Liara looked out at the stars, her energy still glowing faintly. "I was changed by one human's kindness," she said softly. "And together, we can change the galaxy." News spread quickly. The Corillan Council issued a reluctant statement praising Liara's survival and leadership. Humans celebrated the heroism of Ethan Cole, the man whose act of compassion had sparked a revolution of thought across species. Neutral worlds sent delegations to meet with Liara and the crew of the Odyssey. Peace talks began, guided by the princess and her human ally. For the first time, diplomacy carried weight alongside power. Liara's hybrid abilities became a symbol, proof that life, cooperation, and trust could create strength far beyond what armies alone could achieve. Scientists studied her physiology, diplomats studied her decisions, and soldiers studied her courage. Ethan watched quietly as Liara met with representatives from dozens of worlds. She had grown stronger in body, mind, and spirit. Yet she remained humble, aware that her power came from trust, compassion, and the human blood that had saved her life. Weeks later, aboard the Odyssey, Liara stood beside Ethan on the observation deck. The nebula glowed softly in the distance, the stars a constant reminder of the vast galaxy they now sought to protect. "You saved me," Liara said quietly. "Not just with your blood, but with your courage." "I will never forget it," Ethan smiled faintly. "And I never thought one transfusion could change the galaxy." Liara laughed softly. "One life given freely can indeed change everything." She turned her gaze to the stars, her silver gold eyes reflecting hope, unity, and determination. "Now we move forward, together, humans and Corillans, allies, friends, protectors of life." Ethan stood beside her, feeling the bond that had begun with blood and trust. "Together," he agreed. As the Odyssey sailed toward the stars, carrying a princess and a human who had become more than just allies, the galaxy witnessed the dawn of a new era, one where courage, compassion, and unity could triumph over hatred and fear. And in the quiet glow of the nebula, one truth shone brighter than all else. One act of selfless kindness had rewritten the future of the stars.